Chapter 1, The Hunter, Part 2, The Mermaid. And so, the next night, and the next, and the next, and the next, she was there. She came closer now, sitting in the shallow water, the waves not up to her waist. She talked to the hunter in a voice like the waters, in a voice that made no more sense to the hunter than the water. No word of hers was like any word of his. They began to teach each other words. The mermaid would touch her head and make the same sound over and over until the hunter had memorized it. Then he would pat his leg and say, "Leg, leg." And the mermaid, looking as if a leg were a very queer thing, either to have or to have a word for, would repeat the word in her liquid voice. But she could say his sounds so much better that he could say mermaid sounds, remember his words so much better that he could remember hers, that before long the learning was all one way. The hunter said her words awkwardly and ruefully, like something learned too late, but she said his like an old magician learning a new trick, a trick almost too easy for her to need to learn. The hunter said to her, bewildered, "You never make mistakes with my words." "What is mistakes?" she said. "The wrong word, the wrong sound, one you don't mean to make, the way I do," said the hunter. "Mistakes are what I make when I try to talk the way you talk." The mermaid repeated in a satisfied voice, "Mistakes." She had one more word. She told the hunter that the others like her used to come in as far as the seal rocks, but had stopped now that he was on the beach every night. She said, "The sea." Then she stopped, at a loss for the next word, and said, "You are man. What is two? What is three? Men? The seamen, like me, the sea people. The sea people, like me, are afraid of land. Not me, oh, not me," the mermaid said. "They think I—" Here she hesitated, and then she said triumphantly, "They think I make mistakes, make bad mistakes to come here. They say all good comes only from the sea." She struck the water with a cheerful, scornful hand. "Why don't you think that?" The mermaid immediately told him, but in her language, not his. He laughed, she laughed, and wrinkled her nose and forehead, searching for the words, but they wouldn't come, so she said, "Oh, well." Whenever she didn't know what to say or how to say it, she would just exclaim cheerfully, "Oh, well." The hunter couldn't remember ever teaching her to say it, but she had certainly learned it. So the next night she had her answer. Her first words were, "The land is new." The hunter gave her a puzzled look. She said swiftly, "They say all good comes from the sea, but the land is new. The land is—" Here she said one of her own words, and then asked impatiently, "You have legs, I have not legs. The moon is white, the sky is black. What is that? Different? Different, different. The land is different." Sometime the land was so different that the mermaid would learn a word in a few seconds, and after a half-hour's explanation, she still did not know what it meant. One day the mermaid came to the beach in the daytime now, and the hunter pointed up over the meadow and said in the clear, divided tones of a teacher making something plain, "That is my house." "House," hissed the mermaid, "house." "I sleep in the house on a bed," said the hunter. "I eat in the house on a table." "Bed," said the mermaid. "Table," said the mermaid. But her quick eyes looked strained and hesitant. It was plain that she had no idea what the hunter was talking about. The hunter started cheerfully. "A table's a big, flat thing with legs." The mermaid's eyes brightened. She knew what legs meant and felt very landish for knowing. "That you eat on? You eat on legs?" "What do you get on it to eat?" "Oh, no, you don't get on it. You put what you're going to eat on it," said the hunter. "Why?" said the mermaid. "Well, otherwise, you'd have to hold it in your hands," said the hunter. "You don't want to hold it in your hands?" said the mermaid. The hunter went on. "Then besides the table, there's a bed. That's a big, flat thing." "Oh, yes, like a table?" Well, not like a table exactly. It's made of wood, like that log there, and has a bear skin on it, and you sleep in it. The log was hollow, and as she looked at it, the mermaid saw. You took the log and you put a skin around it, and then you got inside it and you went to sleep. Ugh, said the mermaid, I don't understand the bed. The bed and the table are both inside the house, said the hunter. The house is a big hollow thing, not the bed. No, the bed's not hollow. Then I don't understand the bed, said the mermaid. We'll come back to the bed, said the hunter. The house is a big wooden thing. See how big it is? You stay inside it at night or when it rains. Why? To keep from getting wet. To keep from getting wet, the mermaid said despairingly. All at once the hunter had an idea. It's like a ship, he cried. Wouldn't it be nice if, instead of just sleeping anywhere, every night you swam inside that wrecked ship by the reef and slept there, and that you could stay in it when it rained? The mermaid said softly, in utter amazement, That's the queerest thing I've ever heard in all my life. You've made a mistake. You must have made a mistake. But usually whatever the hunter did or said had for the mermaid the glamour of land. She loved it when he shot for her and would run her hand along the dark bow and white feathery arrows as she tugged at an arrow shot into driftwood from across the beach. She said admiringly, I think you could kill anything. One day the hunter was sitting fishing. She swam up and said in a pleased, puzzled voice, she loved learning about things, What are you doing? Fishing, he said. The mermaid looked more puzzled than before, so the hunter explained in several sentences how he did it. She looked at him unbelievingly and then burst into laughter. What are you laughing at? Asked the hunter. It's such a roundabout way of catching a fish, she said. What do you want me to do, swim after them and catch them in my mouth, he said. You're the only thing I know that doesn't catch them that way, she said. You look so helpless, just sitting there waiting for one. Tell me what sort you want and I'll go get it for you. For a moment the hunter felt a little child's humiliation, but then he laughed and told her the sort of fish he wanted, and the mermaid got it for him immediately. The next day he brought her a piece of venison, which she took one bite of and threw it away and spit it out. But the day after he brought her a branch of a red maple leaf. The mermaid looked at it as if she couldn't believe it. She carried it and stroked it and said to him lovingly, It's the best thing I've ever had in all my life. Oh, you're so lucky to live on land, said the mermaid. The land's so... For the first time in many days, she couldn't think of the word she wanted, and said she had once said so often. Oh, well. Well, by now, the mermaid and the hunter were spending most of their time together. His house got to have a random, half-lived-in look, and he hunted mechanically for the next meal or two. The mermaid became used to the meadow now, and he said he would sit in the tall grass with her, looking out over the seal rocks to the island, and she would say triumphantly, I am 150 steps from the ocean, 150 of your steps from the ocean with your legs. Do you think any of the others have ever been so far up the land? He asked. Any of them? Oh no, she said. If they saw me now, they'd say, I made a mistake. She laughed and used her old word. What a mistake you've made. Oh, what a mistake you've made. Mistake or not, the mermaid had made it. That fall, she went into the house with the table and the bed, and from then on, the sea people saw her only as a visitor from the land that was so, whatever it was.